time no see. Hope you're doing all right. Uh, got a question of the week for you, which is going to lead into a series I've been working on called Unpopular Opinions. My question for you is what is your unpopular opinion of a comic book movie? For me, it's going to be kind of long. I'm going to try not to get too ranty with it, but mine is the MCU, SpiderMan, and Venom. Now, let me start this off right off the bat. I am a comic book fanboy. I'm not a DC fanboy. I'm not a Marvel fanboy. I'm a comic book and comic book movie fanboy. I have seen all the MCU movies. To be honest, there's not too many of them that I dislike. I either like or really love movies from Marvel, but I also like most of the movies in the DCU. I know. Get ready. I'm already getting ready to be torn apart in the comments for this unpopular opinion, though. So, just because Spider-Man is in the MCU via Marvel does not mean, for me, that Homecoming was the best Spider-Man movie that they put out. I loved the first two Spider-Man movies with Tobey Maguire. Wasn't that big of a fan of the third one, like most people. And I really liked Amazing Spider-Man 1, and even though it was overbloated with villains, I really liked Amazing Spider-Man 2. Homecoming to me was just a weak movie. Far From Home was much better. Far From Home, much better movie. But that being said, when it comes to Tobey Maguire, I really liked his Peter Parker. I couldn't really get in. Like, I liked his Spider-Man, but he wasn't the funny, wisecracking Spider-Man that I was used to from comic books. Andrew Garfield, however, was an amazing Spider-Man, but I could not buy his Peter Parker one bit. His Peter Parker was way too cool. You weren't going to convince me that kid wasn't a ladies' man or anything. Okay, and as much as I love Joe, and I can never pronounce his last name, but we know Joe, played Deathstroke and Alcide in True Blood. Chris, man, I can't remember his last name either. I'm sorry about that. That played Flash Thompson in the Amazing Spider-Man movies. I really loved his Flash. Like, I thought his Flash was just, didn't really dig the Flash that's in the MCU Spider-Man. I mean, yeah, he's a cyberbully, but he feels to me like he's more of a frenemy more than a bully. That being said, getting off track, sorry. Tom Holland's Spider-Man, to me, is the perfect mix. Like, he's like one of the best on-screen Spider-Man I've seen. He's a very good mix of Peter Parker, and his Spider-Man is spot on and great. But his first movie was just weak, and I think that just because it was in the MCU, people thought it was the greatest movie ever. The Marvel Cinematic Universe has great movies in it, don't get me wrong. Like I said, we've watched every one of them. My personal favorite is still Captain America Winter Soldier. But, again, I don't think that just because it's in the MCU, like, my main problem with it is, yeah, he interacts with Stark in the comics. I mean, that's a big thing, but it just feels like they lost the essence of Peter being brilliant and making all his own stuff and things like that, and just everything is Stark tech. That kind of bothered me. Like I said, I didn't hate Homecoming. I just didn't think it was the greatest Spider-Man movie. They had a perfect Spider-Man. It just was a weak story. Again, Far From Home was far superior in my opinion with that. And, then when it comes to Venom, we have Venom. We're going to have Venom Let There Be Carnage. Sorry. Yeah, that's kind of a weird title to me. Like, I kind of understand why people think that's not the greatest movie title, but still. And Morbius. And right out the bat, people are just like, nah, it's not in the MCU, so it's not going to be good. I loved Venom. Was Venom like the perfect movie? No, it wasn't. What was it, an awesome movie, and I've watched it multiple times? Yeah. People are like, well, you know, I don't know how they could do it without Spider-Man. Well, they turned Spider-Man into Iron Boy, and nobody had too big of a problem with that. Like, Tony made all this stuff. Oh, well, in Far From Home, he made his own suit. Yeah, but he still used Stark tech to make the suit. That's my biggest issue with it. I mean, I can get over it. Like I said, Tom Holland is just a great Peter Parker Spider-Man combo. Like, the best Spider-Man that I've seen on the screen. Kind of like what will lead to my other unpopular opinion about Ben Affleck being one of the best interpretations of Bruce Wayne Batman I've ever seen, which I know a lot of people will hate that one. But my problem was Venom. Venom was a really good movie, and I don't think people gave it a chance just because it wasn't connected to the MCU. Now, that's not saying that in the future, though, that they can't go back depending on what Marvel and Sony decide to do with Spider-Man. I don't know how much longer this deal's supposed to last. But I think with Tom Holland being Spider-Man, there is a great chance that if he does happen to have to go back to Sony, if Sony decides, no, we're taking him back, there's a good chance that he could have a great Sony Marvel movie. Me personally, like I said, Venom, people should have given it a chance because there's the old argument of, well, just because a movie makes a lot of money doesn't mean it's a good movie. But then on the flip side of that, when I say, ready for another unpopular opinion, Captain Marvel was a boring movie. Oh, but that movie was so great it made $1 billion. Well, you just said that just because a movie makes a lot of money doesn't make it a good movie. And before people think that I'm jumping on a hate train with Brie Larson, I really enjoyed Brie in 21 Jump Street and Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. So it's not like I dislike her as an actress. I just felt like she was a really flat character in that movie, and the movie was just boring. Now, going back to Venom and not being connected, there's a way they could retcon it. I mean, Marvel went back when they first, showed that shot of Spider-Man in Civil War. Marvel went back and said, oh yeah, the little kid that's in Iron Man 2 that held up his hand like this was wearing the Iron Man helmet. That was Peter. So there's probably a way that they can go back if they felt like it and kind of retcon it and push it. I mean, look what they did with Amazing Spider-Man 3. Like, it went from one guy killed Uncle Ben to Sandman accidentally was bumped into and killed Uncle Ben, So, I mean, movies do things like that all the time. My main, like I said, my main gripe in my whole unpopular opinion is I don't think that Homecoming was the best Spider-Man movie. I think it was more of, oh, it's in the MCU now, and we have to say every 5 seconds that, Avengers or Tony or something like that. Now, granted, Tony didn't show up in the movie too much, which I like that. But there were still elements of, Peter's a smart guy. They should have had him made his own suit. Maybe later on, before the events of Endgame, Tony made him the Iron Spider suit, like he had for Infinity War. That would have been better to me than, oh, Tony's just going to make you a suit and give it to you. But anyway, this is the first of my unpopular opinions. I just wanted to kind of segue it here into a question of the week at the same time, kill two birds with one stone. Let me know down in the comments, what are some of your unpopular opinions when it comes to comic book movies? Is there a movie that everybody hates? Everybody hates it, and you just love it. Is there a movie that everybody loves, and you're like, Captain Marvel? Anyway, leave it down there, let me know. And as always, stay safe. See you next time. Later, tots.